Niner Heavy, IFR to St. Louis, ready to copy. Tango Bravo 07, Niner Heavy is cleared to St. Louis Airport. Is filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 12,000. Departure frequency is 123.8, squawk 6252. Tango Bravo 07, Niner Heavy, cleared at St. Louis Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 12,000. Departure on 123.8, squawk 6252. Tango Bravo 07, Niner Heavy, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.9er.
Hello, Twitch and YouTube. So, streaming this Sunday afternoon from Jacksonville, Florida, where it is, well, I don't know if this is exactly part of the hurricane or if it was another major storm cell that was blowing in from the east last night, but that has kind of merged with the front of the hurricane. At any rate, we are in northern Florida, where it is not sunny, but about to get hit pretty hard, although looks like the eye wall is going up the Gulf Coast of the Florida Panhandle, so not a lot of fun. In a flight that you didn't see here, I recorded it. It'll be going on to Twitch and YouTube once I edit it, probably this evening, if not this evening, tomorrow, and sometime next week, of the flight from St. Louis to Jacksonville. Brave power generation. Ground power truck. So I probably will be utilizing time acceleration on this flight. The reason being is I have somewhere to be at 5:30 tonight, so I need to make sure we get into St. Louis in plenty of time.
Could you please give me the stuff?
So we did fly earlier. I don't know. It's one of those things. There's so much wind right now that setting up the INS inertial navigation system just isn't going to work. We're a little bit beyond its operating limit. So we will be flying this in the old-fashioned way of using VOR to VOR navigation. Speaking of that, I want to print out my flight plan back. Okay, so they're going to want us to climb up to 12,000. That's good. That should get us out of some of the wind and clouds and stuff. So we'll be setting up the autopilot here. First nav point will be 115.1. So last flight out of Florida, folks. I am using Restream, so I am simulcasting to Twitch and YouTube. Using Restream.io. May eventually go to Facebook as well, but for now. course 332. Come on.
Could I have your ticket, please?
I'm going to go ahead and set our airspeed for 230 knots. Go ahead and set for 235. It's about 3 minutes here. I'm going to shut off the mic unless you guys have questions out there.
Place the freebie. Welcome aboard. Thank you.
So unlike the other airlines in previous videos, Air Transit still exists. They are a Canadian airline
Place
based
KJAX.
out of... Hold on a second, let me get the...
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Alright. Let's get our taxi clearance.
Jacksonville, ground, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy with Charlie, ready to taxi IFR. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, taxi 2 and hold short of runway 7 via taxiway Juliet Alpha Lima. Contact tower on 118.3 when ready. Taxiing hold short runway 7 via taxiway Juliet Alpha Lima. Tango Bravo 079er
Now, the 7, or the L1011... actually tends to, like... Whoa, hold on.
Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, hold position, caution other traffic. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, continue taxiing. Roger, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
Probably should have backed it up the other way, but this should work. Turn on some tunes for our passengers. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and crew, welcome aboard this flight. We hope you enjoy flying with us. Before takeoff, we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety features of the aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft in case of an emergency. During an emergency, please remain in your seats with your seatbelts fastened and your seats in an upright position. In case of a drop in cabin pressure, breathing masks will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your head. If there is smoke in the cabin during the evacuation of the aircraft, the walkway emergency lights will direct you to the exits, which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency landing, you will be instructed to get into the brace position, which is executed by placing your head between your knees with your hands over your head. We would also like to remind you to turn off all electronic devices. We thank you for paying attention during this brief presentation.
Reverse thrusters engaged.
Okay, we all look good there. Turn off the APU. Bus power looks good. See if that light comes back or if that was from us. Current winds out about 16 knots out of 020. Gonna be going a little bit off the lines here today. Hello there on YouTube as well as Twitch. So at the end of the last live stream, the DC-10 ended up in not so good condition, so I ended up having to sell the DC-10, and I found this L1011 on the cheap. They carry roughly the same number of passengers, which was kind of a shame. The DC-10, in terms of earning revenue for the company, and FSPassengers, was a real workhorse. So now the L1011 is serving as the backbone of our wide-body vintage airline fleet. Thought about buying a 777. We should be very close to finishing this scenario. It wouldn't surprise me if this landing, or this flight, is the last one. We're at 95%, I believe. When you get above 95% is when you become an internationally rated company. I did check the configuration file. It says that you have to have a fleet of aircraft, but there's no minimum number of aircraft that you have to own. At least that I saw. Let's go ahead and turn on the remainder of our lights. So this could be also one of the last flights of FSX on my channel.
Bravo 079er Heavy, ready for IFR departure, runway 7. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, cleared for takeoff.
Approaching
runway 7.
07.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now clear for takeoff.
Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
So 232 passengers have bravely come out to try to get out of the wrath of Hurricane Irma. Right now in Jacksonville, Northern Edge, we got winds at 20 miles an hour.
On runway 07.
Which, while not inconsequential, is not exactly hurricane force. Should probably check my trim. Looks good. Up.
Jacksonville departure, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, is climbing through 2,500 for 12,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, Jacksonville departure, roger, altimeter 299er0. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, turn left heading 305, climb and maintain 12,000. Turn left heading 305, climb and maintain 12,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, contact Jacksonville departure on 127.0. Going to 127.0, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
Alright, we are off the ground and in the air and out of the... hopefully getting out of the path of the hurricane.
Jacksonville departure, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy is at 5,000.
science off this with some minions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just started the in-flight movie displaying on the screens ahead. You will find a set of headphones to your left. You can adjust the language and volume on the dials next to your seat.
Departure, Roger. Altimeter 29990.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now serving
Bravo
sandwiches.
079er Heavy. Contact Jacksonville Center on 126.75.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now safe to use your portable electronic devices.
Echo Bravo 079er Heavy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now serving drinks.
Jacksonville Center, Echo Bravo 079er Heavy is climbing through 9,400 for 12,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, Jacksonville Center, Roger. Altimeter 29990.
Passing 10,000 feet, Captain.
lost aviation. So I had to scrap the DC-10, purchased an additional L1011 to, let's see, we have currently a wide body flight of, a fleet of 2 L1011s. So far, this is my favorite wide body to fly. I really do enjoy it. Flying out of Jacksonville, getting out of the path of the hurricane. Flew into the hurricane earlier, now flying out of it to St. Louis. I'm taking a swill of, or a swig of tea.
Tango Bravo 079 Heavy, please expedite your turn to heading 005. 11045. Contact exit zone center on 110.85. 120.85 for 11045. Tango Bravo 079 Heavy, please expedite your turn to heading 005. American 555, turn right, heading 340, resume on navigation. Tango Bravo 079 Heavy, turn left, heading 335, resume on navigation. Turn left, heading 335, proceed on course. Tango Bravo 079 Heavy. Turn right, heading 340, proceed on course. American 555.
Inertial navigation system is actually working or not. unfortunately, due to the fact that winds were gusting at 20, 25 knots on takeoff in Jacksonville due to the storms, I wasn't able to reset the INS. So I think we're going to end up having to fly this the old-fashioned way. So VOR radio. Our cruising altitude. Flying an Air Transat liveried L1011. Interestingly enough, like all of the other airlines and vintage airlines, Air Transat is still around. Flying out of Canada. Eh? It's a Canadian plane, eh? It's a good time, eh? Missouri. Heading. So game audio is loud. Fortunately, let me see if I can fix that. See if that's a little bit better. Alt-Tab is always risky on FSX. So is the volume level a little bit better there over on YouTube? Should be nav. Set to VOR.
American 555.
32 nautical miles. Speed. Basically because I don't, in order to schedule VATSIM flights and stuff like that, you have to know for sure you're going to be doing it at certain times, and I never know. Also, you run into situations like here, where today I'm on a fixed time. I have somewhere to be in about 2 hours.
Hello, Captain.
Or actually a little bit out, more like an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to engage in time acceleration. So now 116.9. Those are the reasons why I don't use VATSIM. And 330 core setting. That's part of the aircraft. That's part of the L1011. If I bring up the user tip menu there, it comes as part of the Captain Sim L1011. It is not part of FSX. So next is 114. 329. And secondary radio should be set to 116.9. Set for that's accurate. We're a little bit off course. What's our wind coming in at? 163, 38 knots.
Atlanta Center, Delta 1 Center 80. Atlanta Center, Roger, altimeter 3020.
Set for 116 here. Oh, that's the wrong way. That's right. It is 329. Reading off the charts here. Yeah, this is, no, it's not a new version. I just set the, you can, set the colors. It's an option somewhere in the configuration. flight. It's somewhere here in the options. Taking up a lot of time, just basically fancy S-turns. Probably just should set the heading at 320 and should get us close enough.
Excuse me, Captain. Can you raise the cabin temperature? Some passengers are feeling very cold, and we're running low on blankets.
Yeah, we're a little bit off course, but that'll get us there. I've had a version of Microsoft Flight Simulator X-Plane since 1984, 85. I can't remember if that's version 1 or version 2, but a very, very long time. It was just a 152, Cessna 152 or 172 was the only aircraft you could fly back then, too. Sure. When it comes to night environment.
Captain,
Not
do you ever worry about running over
familiar with night environment. Outside of just the standard, whatever, FSX. X-Plane has a better night environment, but okay, so we're 12. Next is going to be Again, I'm not quite familiar with any plug-on called Night Environment.
long flights. I hate using the plane's restrooms.
Unfortunately, I don't have any links to that. I'll say I don't have a whole lot of plugins for FSX outside of like FSPassengers and a few aircraft. Yeah, it would have been circa 1984, 1985. I want to say that was version 1.0 of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I still have the 5 1/4 inch floppy disk and the original manual for Microsoft Flight Simulator. But some people, from what I was reading, it seems like it was version 2 or 3. But it's the one that you started at Meigs Field in Chicago at about, this is the course where we go.
Hello, Captain. Would you like some coffee? Enjoy.
Alright, simulation rate. Back down to normal. At 264. We're getting close to FAM here. We should also be back to
Kansas City Center, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy with you. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, Kansas City Center, roger. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, turn left heading 130. Turn left heading 130. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, you are 59er miles southeast. Turn right heading 335. Expect vectors, ILS, runway 11 approach. American 1005, you are 71 miles southeast. Turn right heading 300. Expect vectors, ILS, runway 11 approach. Turn right heading 335. Expect vectors ILS, runway 11 approach. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
Although I was pretty young when I got my first flight simulator, I didn't really understand a whole lot of it. It wasn't until about 20 years ago.
Descend and maintain 14,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy. Contact Kansas City Center on 125.5. 125.5. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
Alright, 14,000. Or I get told to expedite.
Kansas City Center, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, is at flight level 274, descending 14,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, Kansas City Center, roger.
Photorealistic scenery, auto-generated scenery. Fall, eternal summer. Fall, eternal summer. ILS runway 7, or runway 1, which is very rarely, if ever, used. 11.95. Yeah. BBC Micro. First Elite Dangerous. Or I shouldn't say dangerous, just elite. It was just elite back then. Now something get off my lawn. I remember getting, I think it was Elite 2. It's part of like shareware, but never quite got into it.
Please fasten your seatbelts and make sure all portable electronic devices are securely stowed so that
Back the shareware discs that used to come with Computer Shopper. Back then. This is going to... Well, we gotta swing all the way out west, but there's downtown St. Louis. There's the Labadee coal power plant.
We're passing transition altitude, Captain.
255 bridge. Follow that around. There's Fenton, the Chrysler plant, or what used to be the Chrysler plant. It's Interstate 44 here. My wife works somewhere right over in there. That means that's probably Darty Ferry. That's Manchester. Darty Ferry. I live somewhere right in there. Right about there. Ish.
Tango Bravo 079er Penny, turn left heading 275. Turn left heading 275. Tango Bravo 079er.
I can see my house almost from here. Yeah, so 44. Darty Ferry, Manchester.
Bravo 079er Penny, turn right heading 305. Turn right heading 305. Tango Bravo 079er Penny.
Vibration, gotcha.
Tango Bravo 079er Penny, please expedite your descent to 14,000.
Okay, so I guess... Oh, yeah.
Tango Bravo 079er Penny, contact Kansas City Center on 128.1.
The barometer pressure is a little high.
128.1.
Or was.
Tango Bravo 079er Penny. Kansas City Center, Tango Bravo 079er Penny, with you at 14,100. Tango Bravo 079er Penny, Kansas City Center, roger. Altimeter 302 east, southwest 2213. Contact Kansas City Center on 127.7.
So yeah, this used to be the Chrysler plant. My wife works right in there. And I live... That's 141. I live somewhere over in here. Ish. I mean, that's... No, that's Darty Ferry. Like No. That's Darty Ferry, that's Manchester, so yeah, I live somewhere right in there. We're basically, we're almost flying over. I can see my house from up here. Like I said, I live somewhere over in there. I know we got a couple of Sinclairs over here, but it wasn't one that I remember ever really seeing in my youth. Now, this day and age, we have Charter Spectrum. I actually have my internet through. Liking this because if they're coming in on the approach, I think they want us to. We should be descending. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things that they're going to set us up at like 5,000 feet, and that's too high. So that's Spirit of St. Louis Airport. I fly out of there occasionally. Chesterfield Valley, that's all developed now with parks and shopping and everything else. Over there is the Weldon Springs Nuclear Waste Dump. You can go visit and walk on the top of it. It's a bunch of chat and stuff that's supposed to keep it contained for 500 years, 1,000 years, something like that. But yes, the materials for the Manhattan Project and the atomic bombs dropped on Japan were processed right there. Factoid. There's Lake St. Louis, the big lake there. That's where I grew up. My dad lives somewhere right over in there-ish. And that's the small lake, Lake St. Louise. I know this neck of the woods. It looks awfully familiar. There used to be L1011s that flew into St. Louis too, with TWA and Eastern. I don't know if anybody else flew L1011s here. I know Eastern Airlines did. I know TWA did. Set up 5 as well. View out the window here.
Tango Bravo 079er Heavy. Contact Kansas City Center at 133.4. 133.
there's the airport.
City Center, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy with you. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, Kansas City Center, Roger, altimeter 3028. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy,
There we go.
descend and maintain 5,000. Descend and maintain 5,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
That's one thing I hate about that. You're scrolling down, then all of a sudden, we're going to start jumping up more numbers. You know, I still don't like that, because it's still going to want us to come in at 5,000 feet is probably when it's going to set it up. We can't descend that fast in the airport. They'd been saying that they wanted us to descend to 2,600, but I guess we'll see.
Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, contact Kansas City Center on 135.525. Going to 135.525. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy. St. Louis approach. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy is at 12,000, descending 5,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, St. Louis approach. Roger, altimeter 3028. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, turn right heading 005. Turn right heading 005. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
A little bit too far.
Tango Bravo 079er
Descending below 10,000.
Contact Kansas City Center on 135.525. 135.525. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy. Kansas City Center, Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, deserve 8,700 for 5,000. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, Kansas City Center, Roger, altimeter 3028. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, turn right heading 035. Turn right heading 035. Tango Bravo 079er Heavy.
Wow. Yeah, way above 250 knots. Below 10,000. That's going to be a fine. We're going to lose points for that. Oh well. Probably should have deployed the flaps a little bit earlier.
Bravo 079er heavy. You are 41 miles west, turn right heading 095, descend and maintain 5,000. Cleared ILS, runway 11, approach, maintain 5,000 until established on the localizer. Contact St. Louis Tower on 120.05. Turn right heading 095, climb and maintain 5,000. Cleared ILS, runway 11, approach, maintain 5,000 until established. Tower on 120.05, Tango Bravo 079er heavy.
I'm gonna go ahead and descend to 2600.
St. Louis Tower, Tango Bravo 079er heavy is 39 miles northwest, inbound ILS.
Because for some reason wants to set us up at 5,000 feet for at 5,000 feet. That just does not work for the approach to this runway. Need to be a lot lower than that.
Straight in, runway 11, Tango Bravo 079er heavy.
It's 121. I'm going off memory here. When in doubt. One, two, two. That was close. Weather radar to standby. Just a few puffy clouds out. So locator has gone active. glide slope capture. Go. Now we got the capture.
Gear down.
Flaps ready for landing. Coming in. That's an airport that doesn't exist anymore. That's, I believe, yeah, that looks like that's 3SQ, or what was 3SQ. That airport shut down about 7 years ago, and I think runway and everything has been completely plowed up, bulldozed, whatever, removed by 2013, 2014. I used to fly out of there quite a bit. Many moons ago. So coming in for landing at the least used runway at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. They've recently changed the name of the airport. So gear down, flaps down. Everything looks good here. Coming in at about 150 knots. Now we're just waiting for glide slope intercept. Good to go. So hello everybody on Twitch and YouTube. I'm simulcasting to both platforms via restream.io. We have glide slope capture. It's there. Now I'm just kind of here in case something goes horribly, horribly wrong. Lumbering in. Be sure to stay tuned. If this does not win this scenario and have to continue to keep flying, then I will probably, there will be another flight tonight. No, there won't be, because we'll be watching the Orville.
400. Approaching minimums. Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30.
Knots. 60 knots.
Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, exit runway when able.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
Is there a particular reason why? Something is not right with my flight controls.
Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, exit runway when able.
Holy, what the? Okay, now they seem to be working, but yeah, for whatever reason, there for a second, my throttle quadrant hiccuped, and it's continuing to hiccup. Yeah, something, for some reason, all of a sudden my stuff...
Tango Bravo 079er Heavy, exit runway when able.
Well, we're safely on the ground, but My flight controls have gone all wonky, and I don't think that this is an aircraft problem. I think this is a CH Control Manager problem. Yeah. All right. Oh, I hit something. Now, there we go. Now it's working all right. Hello there, Lord Secret Spy on Twitch. Arriving a few minutes late in from Jacksonville. The last flight out before the hurricane really starts slamming that area. Cancel. I was having some control issues there for a second. I'm not sure. I'm guessing that my rudder puddles must have been getting stuck or something. It might be time to take them apart and clean them after 4 years or so. There's probably some gunk buildup on the potentiometer.
Approaching 06.
So we're going to be violating the airport speed limit here. The old Air National Guard. It was Lord Secret Spy. He turned up again. Controls all went wonky. Guess I can turn off my landing lights, keep the taxi lights on. Don't need our strobe on anymore. We do need anti-collision. Ooh, a 757. I didn't think too many of those flew into here anymore. arriving about 15 minutes late. Really doesn't like it when I try to give it just a little bit of gas to get over an inertial hump. Now, wife and I are both big Star Trek fans, and we're looking far more forward to the Orville with Seth MacFarlane than we are the new Star Trek series, which is just going to fail miserably. First off, they seem to not know what Star Trek was about, or is about. Secondly, it's going to be on this all-access thing that we're not going to pay another $6 to subscribe to. Lastly, it just looks bad. Alright.
Gentlemen, the door is open. Please make your way to the exit, and please make sure you have all your personal items and carry-on luggage.
Go ahead, in flight here. Highly rated. Average cruise speed Mach 0.81. Now 95.73%. During takeoff, but a safe landing with satisfied passengers. 11 million sim bucks. Not too bad. Still not international status. Well, that means more flights. I don't know where. Is it 96%? But it's one of these next few flights is going to get us to international status and win the scenario. Let's take a look at let's see where we are in 500 seconds. Okay. This looks like a pretty good view. See what it looks like. Now, I don't believe on the replays that it automatically sets up all of the controllers and controls and stuff. Coming in from the left window here. doesn't look like the flaps reanimate correctly, but the engine reversers do. $625. Guess there's more stuff to look at over in here. Pretty well steadfast. Again, it doesn't reanimate the flaps or slats or spoilers on replays. But this did not finish the series. I was thinking we were going to probably get pretty close to that here today. Fortunately, not so much. Well, I've got to go do the dinner thing with the in-laws. So we'll probably be flying out of here again either later tonight or tomorrow. See if it tells us current is 95%. It should also tell us here. So whatever it is, it's reputation 96%. So it's 95 point something or other percent. Status to reach is international. We are still a national company. Well, we'll have to reach that last tier of prestige in the next episode. Until then, I will see you next time.